Hi, my name is Elz and I've changed labels so many times that I don't even keep track of them.
Elz is an 18-year-old, non-binary, queer, polyamorous person from Gothenburg, Sweden. Let's jump back to their early years and try to track their exploration, which started with their sexual orientation.
I think I've known that I'm gay or at least queer my whole life. I remember being in kindergarten and thinking that being straight was a joke, that people were attracted to people of the opposite gender. I don't know what else term to use, but I just thought it was a joke that everyone was just talking about, and I didn't understand it. When I was 7, I first learned the phrase lesbian. I had a big crush on my best friend at the time, and at 9 years old I came out to a family friend. She was only 4 at the time, so she didn't understand, but I just wanted to say it. And then I got back into the closet, came out as bisexual at a scout camp when I was 14. I didn't know why I thought I was bisexual. It just felt right at this time. And I would say that I, at the time, was bisexual. If you know what I mean, I used the label bisexual to describe myself because that was what I was feeling at the time.
And then they kind of stuck with that label until they were 16 and came out as a lesbian.
I came out to my parents through a letter. I remember writing a letter and sticking it up on the door, so I knew that they were gonna leave at about 6 in the morning, and they would see the letter and read it when they were on their way, and they wouldn't be able to say anything mean to me. I got a text saying, "Oh, we still love you." To be honest, I don't know if they meant it, but at the time, it was comforting.
Elz identified as a lesbian up until last year, when they started thinking about their gender identity a bit more.
I've always known that I'm not a girl, but I didn't have the right words for it. And I thought that because I like to express my femininity, that I wouldn't be trans, I wouldn't be non-binary. But here I am, and I'm proud to be who I am. When I first started questioning my gender, I started to think more about my sexuality, because if I'm not a girl, then a lesbian didn't feel right, because a lesbian usually means a girl have the ability to fall in love with a woman, and only women. And since I'm not a girl, that didn't feel right. I know that you don't have to be a woman to be a lesbian, but for me, that was really dysphoria-inducing. I also started to have feelings for people who weren't women. For the first time since I was 14, I started to have feelings for men, which was so confusing for me.
So then they went through some other labels to try to explain their sexuality.
I started to using the label queer a little bit more. I went by pansexual, bisexual, omnisexual, and many different other labels just in the last year. And I think that those were the labels that described me the best at the time. Now I choose not to label at all. I'm just me.
And now it's time for Elz to kinda come out again.
I am poly, and that's something that I rarely talk about. I have never came out as poly officially. Only my closest friends know. I've never understood how you can only love one person at a time. For me, love is something amazing that I would want to share with as many people as possible. And I was never open about me being poly, first because of it's not socially acceptable. People see it as cheating, which it isn't. You're open to your partners about you having other partners, and they are okay with it. And I have to say that I was ashamed of it until I met my best friend who is also poly. And just like how you can have so many friends that you love, why can't you have many partners that you also love? What even is the difference between platonic and romantic attraction? Love is love, and if I can share it with as many as possible, why wouldn't I?
I'm really impressed with Elz. They are still quite young, but so wise, and already have this huge vocabulary to use while describing themselves.
As you've heard, I've changed my labels A fucking lot. I've been a lesbian, I've been bi, I've been a lesbian again, I've been bi again. I think I at one point thought that I was asexual, and it is okay. I've came out so many times, and so many times I've also just chosen to not talk about it. But I think that if we normalized changing labels, it would be so much easier to explore yourself. You wouldn't have to make a big deal out of you choosing to use another label or not using a label. I know that many of my friends think that when you come out, you have to stick with it. So that's why they are so scared of coming out. They won't tell anyone because in the queer community, if you come out as something, there's this big stigma around that it's not a phase. But maybe it is just a phase, and that is okay. You're allowed to explore yourself. How else would you figure out what and who you are? I'm proud of me for changing labels because that just means how much I've grown as a person and how much more I know about myself now. And still, when I look back at old me, I can understand why I chose that label, because that was the label that described me the best at that moment.
So has Elz now found the labels that will describe them for the rest of their life?
As I said, I've changed labels millions of times. And I've always thought, no, this is the last time. So if I'm gonna be honest, I can't sit here and say that, oh, I'm never gonna change labels again. I am a gender fluid, non-binary, queer, polyamorous weirdo. Like, no, I will probably change my labels. Maybe someone will come up with a better word that describes me. Or I will choose not to even say that I am queer, because that isn't the right word for me, and I know it. But that's the one that describes me the best right now. And I'm probably gonna change, but that doesn't mean that I am any less of the person that I am now.